And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Hi, guys. How are you? I hope that you are doing well. Well, during this new month of September, we're going to be talking about the light. And remember that the creator of the light is God. He is the one who said at the beginning, "Let there be light," and there was light. Before God, there was no light. All the world was dark and there was nothing. But God was the person who said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So it's very important that we recognize that the light is very important, right? Because what will happen in a world with no light? But thank to God, we have light that we can use. We have light to have for daily activities. So I hope that you can enjoy these classes that we're going to be talking about light. Because imagine a world in which we had no light. But thank to God, we have the light. And I hope that you can enjoy these classes because we are going to be learning about the different characteristics that we can have regarding the light. We're going to see the different materials that are used or how they react to the light. And we're going to see also how light functions depending on the situation. So bye-bye, and please enjoy the rest of the following video.
Light is made up of a lot of tiny particles that travel in waves, and it carries a lot of energy. That's why it's warm in the sun. The energy transfers to you as heat. Light is everywhere. We can see it in the sun and in a fire's flame. We have electric lights too, which we can see in our houses and from our cars. Light travels incredibly quickly, and it usually travels in straight lines. But sometimes, light is blocked from going through objects. We call these objects opaque. Buildings, for example, are opaque. So when the sun hits them, they cast a big shadow. But when light passes through transparent objects, like glass, for example, no shadow is cast. And when it passes through translucent material, like paper, only a very light shadow is cast. And some objects are reflective. This means that they change the direction of light. But the way objects reflect light can be different. When light hits an opaque object, for example, it changes direction by bouncing back. This happens when light hits mirrors. But sometimes we can see reflections in things like water. Here, you can see that the light bends. This is because water is transparent, and we call this refraction. The light from the sun looks white, but it is actually made of different colors. We can see this when light hits a prism, which is a triangular piece of glass. The light refracts and separates into different colors. Something similar happens when light hits water. In fact, this is how rainbows are formed. An amazing way to just see how incredible light really is.
What is light? Page 120. If you see these different pictures that we have here, all of them have light. But the light is coming from different sides or different angles. So we're going to complete this using the letters and numbers that are specified here. The first question says that how many living things can you see? Well, I can see here some people, the tree, this animal. So I counted 3. If you counted more, you can write more. Now, in which picture is the light coming from the front? That will be letter B. Letter B, the light is coming from the front. In which picture is the light coming from the right? That would be letter A. That's why the shadow is here. Remember that shadow es sombra. Es importante que escriba eso. Shadow, aquí está la palabrita, veanla. Shadow es sombra. And then if we go to letter D, in which picture it's the light coming from behind, desde atrás. That would be letter C. The light is coming from behind. And in which picture is the light coming from the left? That would be letter D. Okay, as you can see it here, letter D. So, chicos, these pictures represent different situations in which the light is coming from different angles. There are some pictures that they have darker places, and as you can see here, that is going to be the shadow. If we go to the next page, which will be page 121, we have different sources of light. If you see here, we have a sun. The sun, of course, produces the sunlight. That's how we can see every day that it's day and not night. Then we have the light bulb. Please write down these answers on your book. Light bulb, the fire, and the moon. Light bulb, fire, and moon. If you see here, there is a question that says, which is the odd one out? Well, the odd one out, it's going to be the light bulb because it's the only source of light that it's unnatural. The other ones are natural. They come from the nature and they produce light with no electricity. If we go to the next page, to page 122, we are going to find some characteristics of the light. And here you need to have a pen or pencil next to you so you can complete it with me. If you see here, we have different things that produce light in this picture. This is a picture of the city, and there are many sources of light that we have in this picture. So we have the first one listed here. That one, it's the mirror. Which one do you think it's the mirror? Which letter it's gonna be the mirror? Mirror. The mirror, remember that one reflects the light, but it does not produce the light. That would be letter E. That's right. Then we have here the stars. The stars are gonna be letter C. Letter C. They don't produce the light, but they reflect the light. Then we have the light in the window. That's gonna be letter A. The reflective jacket, the one that the people who ride the motorcycle use, and that would be letter D. Then we have the motorcycle light, and that would be letter F. And finally, we have the moon, which is already done. All these are different sources of light, and I'm sure that you have different sources of light also at your house. If we go here to the part that says light, we are going to read this together, and then we're going to write true or false according to the text. Light carries energy. You can tell light carries energy because if you leave something under the sun, it gets hot. Energy transfers to the object in the form of heat. So this is light. We're going to underline this because it's very important. Light, it's made up of tiny particles that move in waves. Please circle, underline this because it's important. These travel in straight lines called rays of light. Okay, please copy down that. And if we see, well, that's the speed of the light, that large number, that's the speed of the light. And when the light hits an object, it either goes into the object or bounces off it. Este bounces es que rebota, o sea, la luz puede rebotar en un objeto. De hecho, es así como se forman los colores. Más adelante lo vamos a ver. When light bounces off something, there is reflection. Eso también, más adelante vamos a ver qué es esta parte, reflection. The reflection of light helps us to see things. We call it propagation. When the light travels from a source to somewhere else. That's important, guys. Please underline this. We call propagation when the light travels from a source to somewhere else. This is very important. Please underline it. We call it propagation when the light travels from a source to somewhere else. In the natural world, sources of light are the stars, the sun, the fire. In the modern world, we have electric lights, like the ones you have in your houses, and vehicles. Also, we have the street lights so that we can see at night, ¿verdad? Los postes de luz. Esto sería the street lights. Some things look like they are sources of light, but they just reflect. Eso es lo que yo les dije ahora, que algunos no son fuentes, sino que reflejan los rayos. Some people think that the moon produces light, but it only reflects light from the sun. Some things, such as a reflective jacket or mirror, are very good at reflecting light. So they don't produce the light, but they reflect it. So these parts that I underline are very important to pay attention to. So here we go. In the first one says, light travels in rays. That's true. That's something that you need to do. The light travels in rays. That's true. We can see things because of the reflection of light. That's also true. It's actually here. The stars are a source of light. Well, that's true. The moon is a source of light. Well, that's false. Actually, in letter D, not all the stars are, well, I guess the majority of them, yes, they are sources of light, but there are some other types that they are not sources of light. But, well, in this case, it says here that the stars are the source of light and the moon, it's not a source of light. Remember that we're completing page 122, and here we could see that the light, it's made up of tiny particles that move in waves, o sea, partículas sumamente pequeñas que viajan en ondas y viajan a través de estas líneas rectas que son llamados los rayos de luz, the rays of light. For this part, chicos, we're going to work on page 123. On page 123, you are going to go there and you are going to complete this chart that I completed here. In this case, we have different objects, right? And I don't know if that reminds you of the topic that we were discussing in English about size, color, shape, material, and purpose, which are the different adjectives in which, we can use to describe things. Well, we're going to do the same here. We're going to describe these different objects. What's the purpose of this? To see that the objects, they have different adjectives, and because of having these different characteristics, the light, it's gonna react or function differently in each of the objects because of the different characteristics. So letter A, we have that it's small, it's black and white. Vean la partecita ahí amarilla arriba. It's cube, the shape, plastic the material, and we use it to play. Then letter B, we have, well, it could be medium or small also. That is green, cylinder, plastic, and we use it to drink. And then we have letter C, which is large, transparent, rectangle, plastic, and we use it to carry. Letter D, which is the leaf, we have it that is small, green. We didn't write any shape. The material is going to be organic, and the purpose is to absorb sunlight. Puede pausar el video para que pueda completarlo. Then in letter E, we have this is medium, transparent, cylinder, glass, and we use it to drink. These are just some example of many different objects, so they have many different characteristics. So we're going to come here and we're going to read, because we are going to read the different materials depending on the reaction of the light. And we need to have this very clear. Actually, the three types of materials are this one that we have in yellow. So you need to make sure that you understand the three of them. So we're going to read here. The light interacts with objects and materials in different ways. Opaque materials do not allow light through them. Este allow, recuerden que es permitir. Y si aquí dice do not allow es que no permiten que la luz pase a través de ellos. So those are the opaque materials. They do not allow light through them. Many things around you are opaque, such as the chair, the pencil, the wall. The opposite of opaque is transparent. Transparent materials let the light, let es diferente, ¿verdad? Porque let es permitir, diferente a los opacos que no permiten. De hecho, allow y let son sinónimos. Allow y let son sinónimos de permitir. Los transparentes sí permiten que la luz pase a través de ellos. This means that you can see what is on the other side of the material. Glass used in windows and drinking glasses are common examples of transparent materials. And finally, we have the translucent. The translucent materials let only some light pass through them. O sea, es como está como en medio de los opacos y los transparentes. Paper, plant, leaves, and frosted glass are all translucent. So, chicos, remember, opaque materials, they do not allow the light through them. O sea, no la permiten los opacos. Transparent, vamos a hacer aquí unas notas. Opaco no permite la luz. Ahí, no permite la luz. Transparente sí permite la luz. And the translucent, digamos que es un término medio de la luz, ¿verdad? Now, if we go here to this part, we are going to complete this. A material that doesn't let any light pass through it is the opaque, right? Then the material that lets some light pass through it, it's the translucent. And the material that lets all the light pass through it is the transparent. So actually here we have them in order. Tenemos el orden en que la luz puede pasar. No pasa, pasa poquito, pasa del todo. Chicos, you are going to do this at your house. You are going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects, and you are going to tell me if they are opaque, translucent, or transparent. Me ponen ahí qué son cada uno. Si son opaque, si es translucent, or si es transparent.